Hello and welcome to episode 40 of Novel Knits. My name is Dehnel and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about what I'm knitting and what I'm reading. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are returning, thank you so much. I know I have been gone for a long time, so thank you for coming back and checking back in. And if you're new, I hope you enjoy what I talk about and that you want to come back in the future. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I always love hearing from you all. And yeah, if you want to find me on Instagram or Ravelry, I'm Novel Knit Girl in both places. I also have a group on Ravelry called Novel Knits Podcast Group. This will all be listed down below the video, so don't worry about it. But I am hosting a make-along. It goes until October 31st. It is called Scraps, Minis, and More. Basically, you are encouraged to knit something with your scrap yarn, your mini skeins, any other stash you have in the house. But that's not like a hard and fast rule. Anything that you knit or crochet using 3 yarns or more is definitely allowed. So, I mean, what I'm wearing now would work for the make along as well. You don't have to finish anything. It is strictly participatory. So if you make something small and finish it, that's great. If you want to start a big project or you're already working on a big project, please feel free to enter that as well. I also have a hashtag on Instagram for it. It's NK for Novel Knits, Scraps, Minis, and More. So it is a lovely day here in southeastern Wisconsin, and I happen to have the house to myself, which wasn't how today was supposed to go. It is Championship Sunday, and Milo's team unfortunately got eliminated in the first round of bracket play today. So I was planning to be at the baseball field all day, and now I'm not. So Milo and Nathan, my husband, went to watch a different game, and my daughter's at work, and it's just me and Penelope right now. So you may hear her in the background. I have a little Shih Tzu Terrier mix named Penelope, and she wants to play. So hopefully she'll settle down soon. Today I have 3 finished objects and 2 works in progress. That's not a lot for as long as I've been away. I don't think I knit very much for about 4 weeks. We had end of the school year happening. There were a lot of heavy things going on in our life that was just really weighing on me, and yeah, it was just the knitting got away from me. And then I was like, well, I should probably check in for the make along, but I really had nothing to show. I think for 4 weeks I knit only on this one thing, which I'll talk about very shortly. And I didn't really have any other knitting time. So yeah, that explains my absence basically. It was just a really long, busy, intense couple of weeks, and now I'm finally coming back. So in full disclosure, I tried to record last weekend and I just wasn't in the right state of mind, and it didn't really work. And I was like, And at that point I had 1 finished object, and now a week later I have 3 finished objects. So I'm back into the knitting groove, and that feels really good because I was feeling it. When I don't have time to knit, that means I don't have time to introvert, and I'm not a very nice or happy person when I don't have introverting time. It doesn't mean that I don't like talking to people. It just means that like I recharge by spending time by myself. And my family knows this about me. Like sometimes I just have to be like, I need to be alone. I'm just putting in my AirPods and knitting for like an hour, and then I can usually like get back in. And I have children that are exactly the same way. So they understand it. They're old enough now to understand like that they need their recharge time, and they recognize when mom needs her recharge time as well. Okay, well, I don't really know that I have anything else to talk about, so let's just get into talking about the knitting today. I'm sure something will come up as we're talking, and I'll just insert it wherever. So I did finish the Vibes Tee by Tif Neilan. I made this out of discontinued yarn. It's Knit Picks Caparetta in 4 colors. I'm not even gonna really talk about the colors because you can't get it anyway. I had started this a first version, and I wanted it to be very neutral colors, like white, black, gray, and maybe a pop of like mustard or something. But I didn't have them all on the same base, and I didn't like how the yarns were working together. So then I recast it on. I had enough of this Knit Picks Caparetta yarn. This is a cashmere, wait, hang on. It is a merino, I think 70% merino cashmere nylon base. It is very, very soft. I think it is the little sister of Knit Picks Capra, which that yarn is still going strong, but I think Caparetta got discontinued. So this is the fingering version of that. And so it has nice twisted rib detail on all of the edges, and it just is a beautiful 4-color stripe repeat. These stripes are eyelets for the first 2, and then it goes into more of a textured stitch in the body. I think I was supposed to put the eyelets back in here, but I didn't really want to. I don't think I read that in the pattern that I was supposed to add the eyelets back in, and then afterwards I really like the look of the textured stitch better, and I didn't really want holes in the bottom of my sweater, so I just did the eyelets up top. And I think if I were going to make this again, which I might, I think I would just do that textured stitch up here instead of the eyelets. But I think it looks really good. I really like the colors. I know when I showed it on here before, I wasn't sure about the colors. I thought it looked kind of Easter egg-ish. I no longer feel that way. I do think these are outside of my normal color palette, but I don't dislike it. And it actually fits really well. I have not wet blocked this sweater yet. I finished it well before the pattern was released last week, and it just sat and sat without me weaving in the ends or blocking it, because there were a lot of ends. You cut your yarn at every stripe. I mean, you could probably carry the yarn, but I don't always love how that looks, so I decided to cut the yarn. So it was a lot of ends to weave in, and my mental state was just not at 100. Not even at 75, so it just sat. And then it came to be, okay, you've got 2 days before the pattern is released, so then I quickly wove in the ends and I gave it a steam block. The steam block did not go great. I think it's my iron, but I gave it a little steam block just to kind of smooth out the stitches, and so I could take FO pictures to put on Instagram and Ravelry for the big release day. Penelope. Okay. So I think I'm going to give it a wet block this weekend now, and then I'll see if it grows a little bit. It fits me really, really well, and that was another reason I was a little worried about taking or wet blocking it, because of the amount of nylon and merino and cashmere. Like, I think it's going to grow a little bit when I wash it. So I definitely wanted to take the FO pictures before all of that, but I'm really happy with it. I think it looks good. Yeah, I love it. So I made size 3. I used the colored 4 needles in the pattern. I've tested it for Tif Neilan several times, and I don't even gauge swatch because I pretty much always know I'm going to end up on gauge with her patterns. It's just, I seem to have the same gauge as her as a designer, and I'm really happy that this yarn worked out well. I'm just thrilled with it. I think it's going to be a great addition to my summer wardrobe. And this, while this is not like summer yarn, it's such a light pattern. It's so, I don't think this is gonna like I don't think I'm gonna get overheated when I wear it, but I will let you know if I do. So yeah, first finished object, and I'm really happy with that. My second finished object is, I don't think I even showed these. I decided I wanted to make my friend Julie some socks for her birthday, which happened last week, and I met her for coffee and I forgot to bring the socks. So now you get to see them. Before it was just gonna be a picture. And I used some yarn from Zebra Yarns. I used a sock set called Golden Heart. It was a 50-gram set. So I think it was 50 gram for the main skein, and then 20, I got yarn everywhere. And then 20 grams for the contrasting mini. And I made the Bloomin' Lovely socks by Nancy Wheeler, and I just love these so much. So here it is. You can kind of see it's called Bloomin' Lovely because there's a flower pattern in there. And then I followed the pattern exactly, so it even has a little bit on the back. And there's some texture on the sides that goes down the side of the foot. And I really love these. So Julie has smaller feet than me. These fit my feet, so I hope they're gonna fit her well as well. But I gave her I took a picture of some yarns in my stash, and I was like, do you like any of this? And the gold really called to her. So I decided to stripe the toe as well. And I just think they turned out great. So I hope she likes them. I showed her a picture because I felt like such a heel that I forgot them. But yeah, so she's excited to get these, and she said she likes shorty socks, which I'm like, yes, because I'm not sure that I like them for myself. So I'm happy when other people enjoy them because they do go a little bit faster. This pattern was super fun and engaging to knit. I think it's a 12 row repeat, but very memorizable. And I would highly recommend any of Nancy's patterns. She is a wonderful sock pattern writer, and these are just so cute, so stinking cute. I just like them so much. Okay, and then you guys, I finished Nathan's socks for Father's Day, which is today. So if there are any fathers watching me, which I don't think that's my main demographic, but if you're watching, happy Father's Day. I finished Nathan's first sock several months ago, and I was like, I'll just hold off on this and make it for Father's Day. And then last week I was like, ooh, that's really coming up. So here's the first one. I mean, I have two. Here they are. The yarn I used is Nomadic Yarns, her Tweety base, and the color is Gilly Weed. She does still dye this colorway, but she calls it something different. She stopped naming her colorways after Harry Potter a while ago. So if you love this colorway, which it is stunning, you can find it. It's just not called Gilly Weed anymore, and I did not note what the new name is. And it's not always in her shop, but I really love it. So in order to get this kind of textured look, when I got to a new stripe, as soon as the yarn changed, I did knit one, slip one all the way around, and then just knit until I got to the next stripe. Some of the stripes you can see better than others. It's pretty muddy in here, but that's okay. I did Fish Lips Kiss Heel on both, and these are 72 stitches, magic loop, and then I just knit until it fits my husband's foot. So sometimes I have him try it on, sometimes I just go and hold it up to other socks I've made for him. I think I've mentioned before, like, I don't do a lot of tracking. For me, sock knitting is relaxing, so I just kind of knit, and these happen to match really well. I think one toe has a little bit of the brown and the other one doesn't, but generally they match pretty well, and that's about all I go for, is to try to get them to match pretty well and fit someone's feet. So Nathan really likes these. We gave him his Father's Day gifts last night because we didn't know how busy today was going to get with baseball. Yeah, so I'm happy. He's got another pair, and when he tried the first one on, he said it was extremely comfortable, like this yarn and the way it fit. So this might be something I use for him in the future. And that's it for my finished objects. Now I have like 2 works in progress. The second one I shouldn't count, but I will. I am still working on the Stack of Books socks by Sock Witchery for my friend whose birthday is tomorrow. So after I'm done recording, I will edit and keep working. So this is the first one. This is also Nomadic Yarns. This is one of her Pride and Prejudice colorways called the Shades of Pemberley. And it's just a really nice, simple pattern sock. I really love the colors and the striping on this. Brittany also has a smaller size foot than me, so I was knitting and all of a sudden I had to get to the toe. So it's got a little stubby toe, but I think that's okay. So I love these. I love the color. I hope she loves them too. And I'm hoping to finish it by tomorrow. I should be able to. I'm at that point where like, it's going fast. So this is how far I am on the second one. I think I have 2 more stripes, and then I'll do a Fish Lips Kiss Heel. These are 64 stitches on magic loop, obviously, and she's got a size 7 foot, so I'm an 8.5. It's not that much shorter. Like when you really look at here, I have it in front of me. I do have this sock ruler that I try to use sometimes. So when I'm an 8.5, so that's like here, and a 7 is right here. So like when you look at it like that, it's not that much smaller, and these socks stretch a lot. So I have this sock ruler, and then I have one that is just like a laminate material as well. I've also done the thing where I trace somebody's foot and I cut that out and I put that inside the sock to help me measure. Generally, it all works out. I think, you know, as long as you're using a sock yarn that has some nylon in it, there's a lot of forgiveness. So yeah, that's what I'll be working on today. I sounded very Wisconsin just then. And a little trivia about me, I am not from Wisconsin. I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago, and I'm very Midwestern, but there's definitely some Wisconsinisms that come out in my speech now because I've lived here for more than 20 years now. Nathan and I will have been married for 20 years this August, so I've definitely transitioned, and every once in a while I'll hear myself say something. I'm like, ooh, that was very, very Wisconsin of me. All right, and finally, I did cast on the Dingley Dell by Isabell Kraemer. I can't even really count this, but here she is. I think I've done 7 rows, so there we go. 7 rows of stockinette. The yarn that I am using, I picked this out last year because I was gonna make this last year for a make along, and surprise, surprise, I just don't knit fast enough to get through all my yarn. But I have this Knit Picks Comfy Fingering yarn, and the colors are Cabin and Parchment, and I really like how they look together. It's a little bit of an autumn vibe, which I like. This is 75% Pima cotton and 25% acrylic. I think I'm gonna like knitting with this because it doesn't feel splitty like cotton yarn. I'm doing another summer tank top out of the Lion brand Kobo yarn, and that feels splitty and like stringy sometimes, and this just feels different. So I'm gonna be really interested to see how I like working with this yarn. Don't have a really strong opinion yet. I was watching Sophie of Cozy Meadow Knits, and I was like, she's been making so many beautiful summer t-shirts. And if you don't watch Sophie, you should. She's lovely to watch. And she's just been so inspiring with all these lovely, lovely summer t-shirts. And I'm like, I want to make them too. And she cast on her Dingley Dell. So I totally, when I saw that she did that, I was like, I have to. And this is how far I got. Once these socks are done, I'm getting back to my sweaters. I'm trying to make more socks for other people this year, and all the socks I showed today are for other people. It just kind of is feeling like that holiday stress though that I usually do only for Christmas. I didn't realize all these socks were gonna fall at the same time. So I think I just have to do a better job of like working on socks sooner for other people. It's fine. It's all good. It's all great. So I have 2 other pairs of socks. Oh, I think I have 2 other Nancy Wheeler socks that I would like to finish soon. One is my mom's Mother's Day socks. She got like 1.5 socks to look at on Mother's Day. She said no rush because she won't wear them until the fall anyway, but I'd like to get those off my needles. Those are the Tits Up socks that are beautiful, and I'm using really, really scrumptious Revolution yarn for those. And then I also have I think they're the Freddie Beach socks as well. Those are for me, and I would like to, those are fun to work on. So I'd like to get back to those as well. And then as always, I mean, I'm gonna have some empty sock needles here, so I love casting on new socks. It is like my favorite thing because we all have so many like beautiful skeins of sock yarn in our stash, and it's just so fun to cast it on. Like, I know that there are people in the world who don't understand it, like even knitters that don't like to knit socks, but like that joy of like admiring the skein of yarn, bringing it home, winding it up, and casting it on and seeing how the colors work together, that's like so joyful for me. I just love it. So that's why I always have enough sock yarn and needles that I can just, when I need a pick-me-up, that's like my main pick-me-up. I think I sounded a little crazy just then, but maybe you guys can relate. I don't know, but that's like one of my favorite things to do is just be like, I've been waiting to cast on this yarn and I have free needles, so I'm gonna do it. That's a good feeling. Okay, and that's it. That's all the knitting that I've been working on. I have not even been able to work on any of my Scrappy projects. I have 4 or 5 little scraps of yarn hanging out on a side table for when I can add some cozy memory squares in. I think I may have picked up my Bits and Bobs blanket one night, but I mean, right now I'm like, I gotta get these socks done because they're for other people. We'll get there. I have read quite a bit. I do find that when I read a lot, I'm behind on like watching knitting podcasts, or even watching television. I did see the new Little Mermaid film though, and I loved it so much. I mean, I was 9 or 10 when the original Little Mermaid came out, and it was always one of my favorite Disney films. I just felt like that was the first one, right? Where it was like, not like Mickey Mouse, not like Snow White. Like, it was the first kind of modern cartoon, and with the gorgeous songs, and I just loved it. And I think this remake is incredible. I think everything about it is so good. The casting, the cinematography, I don't know how they did those underwater scenes. Like, it was incredible. So I really liked it. If you care about my movie thoughts, I didn't even take a drink of water. Hang on. And then weirdly, last night we ended up watching the new Avatar movie, Way of the Water, but it only ended up being Claire and I because we started the movie while we were having dinner. It was just one of those nights where we're like, let's just start a movie and we can all kind of watch while we're eating. And then Nathan is the one who really wanted to watch it, and Claire, Milo, he's not a movie guy at all, so he just kind of wandered off. And then afterwards I was like, well, I'm gonna put my AirPods in and listen to my book and read, but I'll still hang out in here. And then Nathan felt like there were too many distractions, so he went outside. And then Claire and I never started my book, and we got so into it. I mean, do I think it's a fabulous movie? No, but I thought it was good, and I really enjoyed that too. And I didn't want to watch it. Like, I refused to see it in the theater, and then I actually thought it was really well done. I just thought, it's been so long since the first Avatar, am I gonna care? And I did. Okay, I'll stop talking about movies now, because this is not called Film Knits, it's called Novel Knits. I'll go through my books pretty quickly because I did read a lot and you probably don't want to hear about them all. I finished The Do-Over by Suzanne Parks. I gave that 2 stars. I just thought it was okay. You guys know me, I'm okay with light and fluffy books, and this one was light and fluffy without, like, it didn't have the stuff underneath it to hold it up. So it wasn't great. I finished Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I gave that 4.5 stars. I really loved it. It was excellent from start to finish. The writing is fantastic. The characters are fantastic. It is an epic book. I think it just won the Pulitzer Prize. It is epic. I would definitely recommend it. It's one of those books that, like, there are times when it feels a little bit like a slog, but when it's over, you miss the world and the characters, and that's the best compliment I can give any book. So I loved it, loved it, loved it. I also read It Goes So Fast by Mary Louise Kelly. I gave that 3 stars. I also really loved it though. I gave it 3 stars because it is nonfiction. Mary Louise Kelly is an NPR reporter, and she starts the book out saying that because of her career, she's had to miss out on a lot of her boys. She's got 2 boys, their activities, and now her oldest is a senior in high school and she wants to be really plugged in this year. So it starts out a lot with, like, some of the things I've been struggling with having my children grow up and being a woman and aging, and it had some really, really lovely just thoughts, and her writing is excellent. It's really good. And then about halfway through the book, it kind of transitions to talking much more about her career as being a woman in journalism and some of her experiences. And while that was great, I felt like it just lost the thread of, like, the parenting. It didn't flow perfectly. I felt like there were 2 different books that kind of got mashed together. That being said, I enjoyed the whole thing. I found the whole thing wonderfully written and well told, and I was engaged the entire time. I just felt that she lost the thread of what this book was about kind of halfway through. So I would also, even though I only give it 3 stars, I would definitely recommend it. Then I finished Identity by Nora Roberts. I give that 3 stars. Nora Roberts, her writing is just, it's solid. The storytelling was solid. There's this character, I don't remember her name because I read it weeks ago now, who's a bartender, and she meets a patron, and they kind of casually start to talk and casually date. And it turns out that, and I'm not ruining anything because this like happens at the beginning, but he is someone who is a serial identity theft / murderer. So he will go in and find women and he steals their identity and then murders them. So this is a thing he does. He moves around the country doing this, and he targets this main character, and instead of killing her after stealing her identity, he kills her roommate. So then she's the one that got away. She has to go back home and rebuild her life. And everything about the plot is really interesting and good. There's just something about Nora Roberts when she writes dialogue that it just feels off. Like it feels like 1950s dialogue. There's just words she uses and phrases that just don't work for me, and it pulls me out a little bit. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. But honestly, the story was compelling and I was into it. Then I finished Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. I gave this 4 stars. It was really good. I think this is a first-time author, and there's an octopus and he's a character, and there's a family dynamic, and it was so well done. I really, really enjoyed it. I would just say definitely worth your time. And then I finished, I think, 2 more since I wrote these notes. I finished Beach Read by Emily Henry. I gave that 4 stars. I liked it. Again, she does light and fluffy really well, like with really great banter and dialogue. This was good. It felt a little similar to maybe Book Lovers or maybe some of her other books, like the storyline, but it was also pretty good. I did enjoy it. I found myself trying to critique it and being like, no, I'm into this. I'm liking it a lot. The banter is great. The dialogue is excellent. The only thing that I could really find is that it's titled Beach Read, and it didn't feel like a beach read. You know, like when you're thinking beach read, you think of like, I don't know, something different than what this book was, but very good. And then in like a day and a half, I ended up finishing Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood. This is a new release that I purchased on Audible a long time ago as a pre-order, and it came in and I was like, okay. If you guys haven't picked up on it, when I'm in a little bit of like a slump, romance is what I turn to. I like a good romance to kind of cheer me up, if you will. And this, I wasn't sure I was gonna like it because it's definitely not my favorite Allie Hazelwood book. The premise is kind of weird. Again, like her big thing is young women in STEM, which I really can get behind. I really like that. I think it's a fun kind of, so scientists and theorists and things that I know nothing about. So that's kind of fun to like get a little bit of that world. But the main character, she had some interesting things. She's diabetic for one thing, which was kind of nice. Knowing some diabetics, that was kind of neat to see them represented in a romance novel. But the main premise is that she does fake dating for people. There's a lot of fake dating in Allie Hazelwood's books, and I just sort of feel like maybe we could get away from that and do something different. But again, I was into it. This one I felt had a little bit more of the like steaminess, and it felt like maybe Allie Hazelwood's been reading Sarah J. Maas. I don't know. It felt a little bit not as like, a little steamier than I remember her other books being. Still good. At the end of the day, I was happy with it. I think I gave it 3 stars. I'm not totally sure. And then because I'm on a romance train right now, and why not, I started an Audible version of Queen Charlotte, the new Bridgerton. I know I wasn't going to read any more Bridgerton, but I decided to jump on that. And then my before bed book is Silver in the Bone by Alexandra Bracken. This is going slow for me. I'm just not there yet, but I think I'm gonna get there. There's magic. I think Arthurian legend comes into play again. And yeah, I'm excited for it. I'm just not, it's not like, I'm not connecting with it yet, but there's a lot of time. I've got time for it. I think that's all I have for today. So I think this is going to end up being under 30 minutes by the time I edit. And I am looking to get back here in a couple of weeks. Hopefully it will not be 5 or 6 weeks again. I will try to not do that. But thank you so much for joining me. Please like, subscribe, let me know what you're working on. Oh, and thank you again for everybody who made recommendations on the toggles and clasps last week. I ended up buying a couple of these from Jewel, J-U-L Designs. I'll try to remember to put it down below, a link. What I liked about these is they have a screw in, so you don't have to sew or anything, and they snap. And I think I'm going to use these for my harvest cardigan, but I am still looking for toggles. And if you have great toggles that you've used in the past that you do not have to already have a buttonhole for, please let me know. I am looking for something that sews on both sides, and the only ones that I found, I wasn't happy with the style. So if you have ones that you've used in the past, please let me know. I love your suggestions, and send me a link or something. You can reach out to me on Instagram or Ravelry, but I would love to see if you have toggles that you have used in the past and have enjoyed, because I have another sweater that I think, while these are, I think, going to be really good, they're not really pricey, but they're pricey enough that like 2 was a good amount. I wouldn't want to buy 6 or 8. So, but I think these are going to be perfect for my harvest. I'm really excited about that. So thank you for all the suggestions. And yes, if you have toggles that you've used and liked, please send me a link, because I'm kind of struggling with finding ones that are going to work for me. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I will be back soon to hopefully have a lot more to show. So keep knitting, and I'll see you soon. Bye.